rumours suggest that Disney may very well have scrapped Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy. That is the headline on this week's Force Friday show. And Stephen, as I did say, pretty self-explanatory sort of a headline there. It's all came from John Campea. Obviously he has his own YouTube channel, which is wildly more successful than ours. And he's a guy with great connections in the movie business. I think this person who has leaked this information to John is the same chap who told him about Ben Affleck and the troubled spell he was having with Warner Brothers and DC, obviously surrounding the script for Batman. Just the utilisation of his, obviously, character within the story and stuff like that, and obviously the split. He called it that they were going to split and go their separate ways, and it happened. And now he's saying this same guy has told him that Rian Johnson's gone. Now his trilogy is over, and that he's essentially turning into an executive producer of sorts, and the cat or the dog downstairs is shouting up his ignominy at that news.
He's a big Rian Johnson fan.
He's a big Rian Johnson fan.
Yeah, John, I watched this actually on YouTube the other day. One thing I'll say though about John Campea though is that although he claims to not like a scoop, back in his Collider days, he did have these sort of rumours, leaked rumours flying about, and admittedly he would put his hands up when he got it wrong, to be fair to him. In this case, he did stress, that if this was true, that he'd be very disappointed. He would like to see Rian Johnson complete a trilogy, in the near future. I've got to say, Rian Johnson, taking away all the carry on with The Last Jedi, is an excellent filmmaker and an excellent writer. Films like Brick,
I completely agrees with you, Stephen.
Yeah, like Brick and Looper were great films. The thing is, throwing a director like that into the Star Wars saga is a bit of a risk. It was a risk that never paid off for Lucasfilm, and they've been regretting it ever since. Yeah,
Stephen, I actually find myself agreeing with John Campea on this one. Despite obviously the backlash to The Last Jedi, I feel that if he had to get his own trilogy with separated sort of a mythology and whatnot, completely distinct to the Skywalker saga, I feel like it could be a success. I feel like he's a good enough filmmaker. We've seen it with the likes of Brick and Looper and whatnot, that if he's introducing his own characters out of his own mind, with their own arcs and whatnot, and they've not got the gorilla on their backs of having to deal with 30 years of mythology and stories and legacy fans, characters that the fans have obviously built up a connection with, I think it could be a success. So I don't even want to say I'm conflicted. It's slightly disappointing, I have to say.
It does say in the article that he has been kept on in some capacity, whether that be an advisory role or whatever, I don't know. Whether that's true. As we said, this is just a rumour, it spouted maybe 3-4 days ago now. Does it surprise me? If it is true, that is, would it surprise me? No, it wouldn't actually. If Lucasfilm have already did it with the chaps on Solo, I can't remember their names.
Christ, I forgot the names as well, Steve, just now. We'll come to me in
a
second.
Also, the original director that was going to be directing episode 9, Colin Trevorrow.
Yeah, Colin Trevorrow,
So it does have that element to it. They have a history of doing this to directors, and writers, where they can dispose of them, if they feel it's not right for the company. But I would be very disappointed. I've got to be honest with you. I would be very disappointed, because I was quite intrigued to see where Rian Johnson would take his own films away from the saga. Just like Binoff and Wise, I'm interested to see where they take Star Wars in a different direction as well, in a different time period as well, which I'm assuming. But as I said, this is a rumour at the moment. I'm sure, as the months roll merrily forward, we'll get more coming out about this. Yeah,
and certainly Binoff and Wise are getting a fair bit of flack just now as well, Stephen, with their handling of Game of Thrones Season 8. A lot of the creative decisions in that.
Lord and Miller,
that's getting their backs up quite a bit. A lot of the fans of Game of Thrones are not happy with what they're doing with the characters, the arcs. Feel like it's been rushed. So certainly they've got a bit of a storm on their tails as well, Stephen, which is going to carry on into Star Wars, and a lot of people will be hoping that they can do a better job of obviously their Star Wars trilogy, hopefully going to be set in the Old Republic era than what they've managed to do with Season 8. I think they will, Stephen, because over the course of those seasons, I think it's been pretty clear that Benioff and Wise know what they're doing in the main. I think it's just been, they've ran out of time, they want to go and do different things, and they're trying to speed it up and rush it as a result. It's not reflective of their writing ability, and I think it's a similar thing with Rian Johnson, Stephen. I think it's perhaps just, it could be that Disney themselves, I've seen the backlash, much like what Benioff and Wise are getting just now from the HBO or the fans of Game of Thrones. They don't care though, Benioff and Wise, they're done with it, they're moving off to pastures now. But Disney have obviously backed themselves into a corner by giving him the trilogy before the release of The Last Jedi, and it could be that they are perhaps getting cold feet now. They've looked at the backlash and seen that some sections of the fandom, perhaps sizable, we don't actually know what the percentage is, that like him, dislike him. Maybe they'll never get on the side of Rian Johnson or go and see any of his films, and they perhaps get cold feet and realise, look, it's not going to happen, it's not going to be feasible to keep this guy in charge and directing a trilogy, because nobody's going, well, not nobody, but a sizable proportion of the fan base are going to be alienated, not want to go and put their hard-earned cash into watching the movies. And they're a business first and foremost, Disney. Bob Iger knows his stuff. There's another guy in between Bob Iger, I think, as well, who deals with the cinematic side of Disney. I always forget his name, but they know their business. They'll calculate all the risks and stuff like that, and the positives and the negatives, and then they'll make a decision based on that. So if it's true, then it's true. They will move on, they'll get somebody else on board to do something new, and everything will run smoothly, because I think what Campea is then says later on in that show, I actually did watch it, Stephen, is that obviously Benioff and Wise, those three movies in 2022, 2024 and 2026 are Benioff and Wise movies, so they've got plenty of time. They've got 5-6 years before they have to worry about this other trilogy or future movies after the Benioff and Wise slate of movies. So I'd be disappointed, because I'd like to see what he'd do with his own characters, his own distinct story going forward. But if it's not to be, then it's not to be. I'm not going to shed a tear. And I'm going to move swiftly right on to an interconnected story involving Rian Johnson as well, Stephen, where he is once again defending the killing of Snoke in Star Wars The Last Jedi. I think it's about, what did you say, 19 months out?
I think it's 17 months.
17 months out since it released, and he's still having to take to social media to defend the movie. I think that would perhaps suggest that there's maybe something went wrong in the movie somewhere. Whether you agree with all of the naysayers and the haters, and I certainly don't agree with all of them. I think some of the criticism is merited, some of it not so much. I actually agree with this guy who has commented on Twitter. He says that, okay, my point is that whether it be the Night King or Snoke, if you build up a hero or an enemy, not paying it off is cheap, be it for character development or not. If you lay the groundwork for characters, pay it off. It's not brilliant to surprise viewers. I actually agree with that, Stephen. Ryan has then replied, yes, absolutely, I agree that you should not kill off a villain without explaining that. And then he goes into like a gobbledygook thing, and he's essentially laying comparisons between what he's did with
it's the Willem Scream. That's basically
Scream,
what he's doing now.
What he's done with Snoke, and obviously what George Lucas, not George Lucas, what they did with the Emperor in Return of the Jedi. I think what was the director's name again?
Richard Marquand, but it would have been Lucas's writings anyway, John.
So he's comparing the two, and I don't think they can be compared.
You can't say that, because when Empire Strikes Back came out, it was billed Episode 5. So by that point, George Lucas already had in his mind he was going to go back and do the first 3 episodes at some point. So this was going to be the rise and fall of Anakin Skywalker and all the players around this central
Who was
character.
the primary player?
Palpatine.
Precisely.
You know, so I don't see the argument here. The other thing that Rian Johnson's actually doing here is admitting that he's copied another film. He's actually copied the sequence and the villain from Return of the Jedi and the execution of that villain,
and it doesn't work so well, Stephen.
So you can't have it both ways, Ryan.
Yeah, precisely. And it doesn't work.
No.
Because that is the middle film in a trilogy, The Last Jedi, whereas what George did fits for the narrative of obviously Darth Vader's arc.
Well, it fits into the 6 episodes.
Yeah, in the 6 episodes, and just that movie as the trilogy, original trilogy as a whole. It's about the redemption of Darth Vader, seeing the light, and his son Luke Skywalker seeing the light within him, and showing them that they're still good within them. And he obviously expresses that by throwing the Emperor over the railings of the balcony or whatever it is in the Death Star throne room. So it fitted beautifully in conjunction with the Last Jedi, the Return of the Jedi, and the original trilogy. And as you did say, Stephen, the greatest saga as a whole. Whereas this, obviously we're not armed with all the knowledge of the sequel trilogy as of yet. It may change when we see Rise of Skywalker. It may be that they've wrote it or rewritten it in a way where it's explained why Snoke was just offed so in such a manner.
The irony is that I've seen a few of these responses from Rian Johnson on Twitter and such like, and it comes across petulant at times with his responses and dare I say it, a bit man-babyish.
Yeah, he strikes me as a guy, Stephen, that can't really take criticism.
No.
I mean, I understand what he said in the past about being constructive with the criticism, but it seems to me that he can't even take constructive criticism because this guy, Kevin, K. James N, his handle is on her username is on Twitter, he's been quite constructive. He's making a valid point. He's not lowering himself to abuse or profanities and whatnot. It's just simply stating his opinion that the character was killed without paying it off. It's giving it a fulfilling arc, and I agree. Snoke did not get a fulfilling arc. He was barely revealed in The Force Awakens as a holographic sort of a figure. Hologram, you're right. And then in The Last Jedi, we see shots of him essentially manhandling the likes of Captain or General Hux, manhandling and belittling Kylo Ren, or Ben Solo, whatever you want to call him, taking the helmet off and telling him that he looked like a petulant child and whatnot. So, and then he just was off and he never got his fulfilling arc. He would never really learn about what this guy was. And as you did say, Stephen, comparing it to the Emperor just simply does not work because the Emperor in the original trilogy was all based on this character getting these people laid out for him in the
it was already
prequel trilogy.
In the sort of, the template.
Ali's really passionate about this discussion.
The template of those original 6 films were already there. We know the story. I don't really want to bore everybody to tears how these films were constructed, but that history was already in the back of George Lucas's mind, ready for episodes 1 to 3. That in this case, I don't know how that would work. If Rian Johnson wants to argue the case on Twitter with anyone, you'd have to have Snoke in episodes 6.5, 7.5, it's the only way it would work.
I'll give him a standalone. And they've already said they're not doing standalones now, so you can't flesh out this character in a cinematic sense unless you do it in a comic run or a novel, which is possible, but the greater majority of the fan base, the demographics that watch Star Wars, don't go back and read the comics and the novels, they just go and consume the movies. And that's where they get the mythology and the plots and the arcs and whatnot from. So you can't compare it, as I did say, without repeating myself, to the Emperor, because it doesn't work. The Emperor had his story fleshed out in the prequel trilogy. You can't do it with Snoke. You're absolutely right, Stephen. Doesn't work. And it just strikes me as a guy that can't take constructive criticism or any criticism in general, which is a very bad position to be in when you're in charge of one of the biggest franchises in the Western society, and you've essentially divided half the fan base. You're going to have to be subjected to criticism.
You might just have heard about his trilogy
being cancelled, and this is him lashing out. It's possible, Stephen, but look, we shall move on, Stephen, to the next topic. This one, again, kind of involves Rian Johnson's fingerprints all over it. It's all about Star Wars Episode 9, but obviously Star Wars Episode 9 being Rise of Skywalker might reveal the identity of Rey's parents or parentage. And this is all coming from, I believe it is a theory, I can't recall the channel. I know the guy's face, but essentially what they're saying is, no, that's a completely different topic, I'm getting well ahead of myself here, Stephen. They're essentially saying that, it's a long and winded article from Cheat Sheet, and they're basically saying that it could be that obviously the identity of the Rey's parentage is revealed in this movie, and that she could be in some way linked to the Emperor. At the end of the long article, they essentially say she could be buffed from the Force, and that it's obviously been semi-confirmed by J.J. Abrams that scene at the end of The Last Jedi involving Kylo and her and them being drunks in the junk dealers, filthy junk traders. They live in putting a pauper's grave on Jakku. That is all a lie. So what is your thoughts on this, Stephen? I dug myself a massive hole there. maybe on Jakku, and perhaps I should have a drink and throw myself in it. In a pauper's grave.
Yeah, listen, I'm past the point of caring who our parents are now, because this should have been executed long ago. The fact that we're still talking about this 3 films in now is ridiculous. You know, J.J. Abrams, he's a great director, a great producer, a great writer. His forte is setting up, a good story, and I think he did that. He did it marvellously well in The Force Awakens. It should have been executed in the next episode. Rian Johnson decided not to make a big deal of it, and that scene you're talking about with Ben Solo saying who her parents were, they were nobodies, was a way of just, it's not important. It's just not important enough.
Yeah.
And then J.J. Abrams coming back out saying, well, it's not been retconned. There might be some possibility that there might be meaning still. Don't care now. I really don't care, because I know it's not Luke Skywalker.
Or is it?
I don't think it is.
Or is it?
I don't think it is.
Could still be, Stephen. It could still be. You never know. We'll wait and see till December. And hopefully,
the only thing that a lot of people are clinging on to is the way that Han Solo looked at Rey at a specific point in the Falcon.
Yeah.
When they were, I think they were going to that planet Maz Kanata was on. He looked at it in a sort of sympathetic way, as if he knew her backstory or something like that. I don't know if people are looking too much into that or not, though.
Yeah, but Stephen, I agree with you to a degree. Obviously, with the setting up of the story in The Last Jedi, there was no real need to continue the story seamlessly from one movie into the next. They could have set it up in a manner where you flash back to Luke and Rey having a moment on the Act 2, the handing of a lightsaber and whatnot. Then you could have moved forward. Star Wars has traditionally had large time gaps in between the movies, and big jumps. There was no need to jump seamlessly from one shot to the other right into the next movie and then shoehorn yourself into a corner as a result, or trap yourself into a corner. And that obviously limited what he could do with the story, and obviously the arc of Luke Skywalker, the arc of Rey, potentially Rey Skywalker, and just a lot of people have said that he essentially took a lot of threads from the Force Awakens and just discarded them. The likes of Snoke, as we've spoke about, the parentage of Rey, whole host of things in there. And I suppose you could go back and say, well, this worked, this didn't work, this worked, and different opinions will have different, obviously, outcomes. A lot of people think they handled it beautifully. I personally have my gripes with a lot of things, and the parentage was one of them, because I feel like JJ was hinting at something with that end shot, that beautiful cinematic shot of them swirling around that Act 2 island. That was far too powerful a moment.
It was emotionally charged.
Yeah, it was far too powerful a moment. The Jedi steps theme, the beautiful cinematic swirling around, as I did say, or rotating around. That moment where she's almost crying, he's looking at her, and he looks emotional, and then it just doesn't work when you see it next.
It's a total mood change.
It's a total mood change. It doesn't work. So I feel like he dropped the ball with that one. And going forward, I think the only real way it could work is as what they do say here, it potentially being the Emperor, who has buffed her from the Force once again, or not even him. It could just be the Force itself has willed her into existence, because she is the new chosen one, and she's been buffed to bring balance to the Force. I don't know. There's no Shmi Skywalker in there, so who is the Shmi Skywalker in the Rey story? I don't know.
Listen, I'm sure we'll get comments below on who Rey's parentage is. I'm pretty sure we will get that.
It'll be buffed from it. I think she's buffed from the Force.
Some people think it's 80%. Kira, but
well, it could be, but she's not Force.
No, it's a bit of a Force. It depends who the father is, but as well. So, but listen, it's all speculation at this point, anyway.
Wouldn't it be interesting though, Stephen, if she was Han Solo and Kira's? That'd be a right spanner in the work. How would she get the Force though? Yeah, for Leia, yeah. No wonder he looked at her and then kept that particular secret in the closet. New jacket? No, same jacket or different jacket or something like that. I don't know. But the parentage thing, that would have been a real spanner in the works. I now know why Han kept that one quiet, if indeed that's true. But look, Stephen, I'm gibbering away here like an absolute gibbering wreck. I'm going to move on to the next topic, and it's all about George Lucas, and has he had an influence on Palpatine's return? And this is what I was talking about previously. It's from Star Wars Theory, that great YouTube channel, and he has thrown up a potential theory whereby it could involve, as we've discussed before, the Emperor hopping around bodies. Obviously, the Force never truly died. I think there's something involving Lucas in some way. Obviously, Lucas was involved. I think this is...
Yeah, there is reports that he helped J.J. Abrams, with the script.
Small thread connecting this to the obviously the theories about Palpatine is that he stepped in and helped, or reportedly helped J.J. with the script for The Rise of Skywalker, which I would find fitting, Stephen, given that it is the conclusion to the saga, which he started all those years ago. But then further develops on about theories, which we've obviously spoken about before, about him force hopping and continuing on through the dark side. He was so powerful that he couldn't really die. It allowed him to live on. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that. Are you happy about him potentially consulting and George having a say on the return?
I think so. I don't know how much involvement he'd have in the script though, John, because I don't think George Lucas's reputation did him any favours with his writings.
Yeah.
Certainly wasn't his forte at that stage in his career. I think possibly as an advisor more than anything. I don't really think he's got much involvement with the script and the dialogue and stuff like that.
I hope not the dialogue.
No,
that's one thing I do not want to see.
But the sort of spirit sort of possessing other beings and stuff like that I'm quite interested in, especially the one with Snoke. Did that if that was possible, if Palpatine could possess the body of the character of Snoke in some fashion, and that's what caused him to have that kind of deformity about him.
Yeah.
That's an interesting theory, but you made a good point, John. Why would he hide behind the guise of Snoke? Why would they not just say, I've risen?
Yeah, exactly. I said that the last time we spoke about it, Stephen. That, I mean, in theory, it would work. He could hop into Snoke, and that obviously the sheer evil, obviously coming out of this.
I think it's actually
possession,
I think
because of deterioration.
I think the spirit of Palpatine is the way they're going to go down the road, but I don't think it's going to be body hopping. I think it's going to be within the ruins of the Death Star.
I think it will be within the ruins of the Death Star too, Stephen, and I do believe, just briefly going back to that previous topic, that he will reveal the true nature of Rey's lineage, her parentage, reveal that she was birthed through the Force, and then she'll have that sort of a connection, small connection with Anakin Skywalker, who was also birthed through the Force, and that may be why she has such a strong calling to the obviously lineage of Skywalker, the lightsaber, Anakin's lightsaber. That could be the shared sort of a similarity there. She has that calling because they are both birthed through the Force. They were both the chosen ones of their own.
And that would make sense why Ben Solo's got such a gripe, because he so wants to be like his grandfather, and
this girl,
the jealousy creeps in, and as you say, this girl, a nobody.
She has no part in the story.
Yeah, she's no part in the story.
But not to me. But she ends up being.
So that would make sense,
I think that's. I really do think that's the way they'll go, Stephen. I think Palpatine will in some way let her know her true lineage, and then it will be revealed that she has this connection with Anakin Skywalker. But time will tell.
Yeah.
Time will truly tell, and I agree that he will not be turning to Snoke and other bodies and whatnot. I think it will be the Death Star. But look, we'll move on, Stephen, to the final topic in this week's Force Friday show, and it's all about the Rise of Skywalker trailer, potentially the next Rise of Skywalker trailer, that is, potentially premiering in July. And they're saying it could be the San Diego Comic-Con. Now, Stephen, just before I let you in with your thoughts, I think this is a non-starter. Because I've seen Disney setting up Celebration over the years to be the big information leak of Star Wars, where they get all the stuff out and it's a celebration of the franchise. The secondary thing they've also been setting up for a number of years is D23, obviously their own Comic-Con, if you like, their own convention, but it's Disney-centric. And for them to give Comic-Con such a pride of place as having the next Rise of Skywalker trailer, it wouldn't make much sense to me. I think they would prefer to show it at their own convention, which I think is maybe a month or so later. But I think August, it will definitely come. Yeah. August, I think it will come later anyway, because July seems early.
I'm trying to remember. I think the Force Awakens trailers came out December, maybe April, May time, and then one in November. So we've had the one in December. I'm not going to count because that was the reintroduction. Star Wars is back. The proper trailer that came out, the one with Han Solo and Chewie were back, or whatever he said, came out around about April, May time, roughly about the same time as the The Rise of Skywalker trailer came out just, in the midst of April. I don't think we're going to get another trailer till probably October, November time.
Yeah, and that would probably, again, marry in with D23 being the more likely place to reveal it, or just flinging it out.
I think the focus from Disney, in the summer is going to be the likes of Aladdin, The Lion King, and Spider-Man.
Spider-Man Far From Home, yeah, you're absolutely right, Stephen. And again, they've got such a wide array of different franchises, and they're fingering so many pies. They're animated re-releases, or what would you call them? Redeveloping the animated classic animated ones. Yeah, and I think they've got another 11 in the cards.
Amazing.
Can fold into the next few years. All the Marvel stuff, all of this Fox stuff coming over. This is again why they've been setting up D23, and this is their convention where they're going to reveal all the various different things. But Stephen, what is this you're showing me?
This is breaking news, actually.
Oh yeah, so we'll fire in. I'll let you fire in.
Yeah, this is just very quickly because time is running out. Lucasfilm is planning third live-action Star Wars show for Disney Plus. Really, I don't know if it's basically saying about the Jon Favreau's Mandalorian as the first casting, Andor's sort of prequel to Rogue One's coming out, but there's going to be a third one being announced.
I think it'll be Obi-Wan.
Well, that's what they're saying. Could it be the new series will focus on Obi-Wan Kenobi? There was talk about, obviously, Ewan McGregor coming back in some kind of capacity. The sort of cinematic format to died a death, unfortunately, after the failing of Solo, a Star Wars story. This could potentially be the third television series, John.
Yes, I'd love that. I'd absolutely love it to be Obi-Wan. I hope and pray that it is Obi-Wan's own TV show, because I feel like that character, his story is so rich, and what's going on between obviously the events of the Return of the Jedi and what's going on between that and obviously the Force Awakens is the Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. I'm getting mixed up here and discombobulated. Such a rich story going on there, and so much scope to go off and see what he was doing. This bitterness with him and Walt, we've seen that done in obviously Rebels though, but it's such a great story, and to have it shoehorned into a 2-hour film, it wouldn't work for me, Stephen. So I would love to see them do it over 10 hours worth of storytelling, perhaps even more going forward, perhaps a couple of seasons of that. So I would be delighted, and I firmly believe that will be the first live action show.
Listen, I'm sure we'll get more of this as it breaks, John, but I've got not much more to say.
No, I've not got much more to add as well, Stephen, until obviously we get more concrete news on that, but I'm sure it'll be Obi-Wan. What do you guys make of that, though? Do you think it'll be Obi-Wan? What did you make of all the various other topics we were speaking about in this week's show? If you liked them, if you get theories on them, whatnot, you know what to do. Comment below, give us your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel if you're liking the content, like the video if you liked this, and we'll be back next Monday with MBE Box Office.